Hello YouTube! Today I am joined by this stack of books, and that's because today we are going to go through every book that I read in 2025. And I'm gonna give you a little review. I'm actually really proud of myself because last year I did not read a lot, and I feel like this year I kind of got back into it, which is really cool. Now, I need you to remember I did not read that many books, but I still wanted to go through them, and maybe some of you will be inspired. Also, do not worry, this is a 100% spoiler-free review of every book, so if you're still interested in reading any of these, you can. So this year I read 16 books in total, which I know for like book talk or something, that's probably not a lot. But it's a lot for me, so I'm proud of myself. And I feel like 16 book reviews is still a lot to give you, so let's do this. I'm not gonna go into the first book that I actually read a lot, and I don't have it here right now either, because I got the first Harry Potter part from my nearest public library, because I actually never read Harry Potter in English. I've only ever read it in German, so I really wanted to do a reread in English. And I mean, the Harry Potter books are super popular for a reason, but don't support the author, guys. That's all I've got to say to that, really. I feel like if you've not read Harry Potter, go to your next public library as well. Do the same. Just read the books. They are very cool. Next, I read a romance book, which is Ali Hazelwood's Not in Love. Now, this book is about a food scientist and a businessman, and it's kind of like enemies to lovers in a way. They're also, you know, not allowed to be together really because of the circumstances in the book, which is that the guy's firm wants to buy her company. I gave this book 4 stars on Goodreads. I feel like books that are just romance will rarely ever be a 5-star for me. I don't know. I don't feel like it's enough. I feel like there's books with such intricate plots and storylines where I will give 5 stars to them. I don't know. I also thought this book was very spicy, and it was like a bit too much for my taste in books. So yeah, I still think Ali Hazelwood does a good job of writing romance. So if you aren't into just romance books, go for this. Or go for The Love Hypothesis, which is somewhere on that shelf. I read that before, and they're actually making a movie about it. So maybe read The Love Hypothesis first, actually. Next on my list is Tales from the Cafe, which is the second part of Before the Coffee Gets Cold. These books are translated from Japanese, and I feel like you can tell when you read them because of certain phrasing, but it's a type of writing that I personally really enjoy reading. I think it's very fun. These books are more on the serious side, I would say. Basically, what it's about is there's a cafe, and if you sit in a certain seat that you can only sit at once every day, and you get served with a special coffee ceremony, you get to travel in time. You can travel to the past, you can also travel to the future. And in every book of this series, there will always be 4 different storylines that you get to discover, which I think is really cool. You also get a little explanation of all the characters in the beginning, like how they're connected, who they are, etc. It's not a very big book, as you can see. It's got how many pages? Like not even 200 pages. So if you're into any of that, if you're into books that kind of make you think as well, like overthink your own life, give this one a read. Start with the first one, but give this one a read too. I still have the 2 next parts, and I'm very excited to read those next year as well. Yeah, definitely a 5-star for me. The next three books that I read, I actually can't show you because I got all of them from the library. And honestly, guys, I can so recommend to go to libraries more, like especially if you're in a reading slump. I feel like it's so helpful because it gives you a deadline. It gives you a time frame to read this book in. And so I feel like I personally feel more motivated to actually start because I'm like, well, I have to give this back at this point in time, so I have to finish reading it until then. Anyways, the next book I read was Murder Most Unladylike, and I really liked that book. It was like murder mystery, but it was set in a school, so it's like children, I guess, which might not be for everyone if you prefer reading more mature stories, I guess. Maybe that's not it, but I thought it was quite cute and fun, and it really got me hooked. I think I finished this in 2 days, so I can definitely recommend it. I thought it was very fun. It's also the first part. I believe there's a series of these. I don't know how many parts though. Then next, again, nothing to show you, but I will put a picture of every book that I can't actually show you on here so you have something to look at while I talk about this. And the next book I read was A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks, and I kind of picked out this book because my nearest library has a very small English section, but I saw that book and I recognized the name Nicholas Sparks, and I was like, I feel like that's something I should have read at least once in my life. Like, I feel like I should read at least one of his books. And so I did, and that book broke me so bad. Like, that is quite possibly one of the saddest books I have ever read. When I tell you I cried for like the last 20 pages just straight, I'm not kidding. I did. But also, I thought it was a very meaningful read for me, and I feel like I would never not read it again. Like, if I had to go back, I would go through the pain of reading that again because of what that did to me. I'm just gonna tell you straight away, that book does not have a happy ending technically, so be aware of that. But I still thought it was a very wonderful book, so if you can handle sadness, give it a read. Then I read the second Harry Potter part, guys. I can't say much to those. It was great. I liked it. I think I enjoyed the first part more, actually, than the second, but it was still good. I just remember this. I actually cried when I finished reading the first book, and I don't know why. It just kind of made me really emotional. Maybe it was nostalgia. Probably was. And next up, we actually have another book that I have here in my hands, which is Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop. I don't know if I said that right, but it does matter. This book, it doesn't really give you much of a clue what's it about. It just says, there was only one thing on her mind, I must start a bookshop. And I was like, well, this tells me absolutely nothing, but the cover looks so pretty. I don't know if you can properly see it, but like, guys, I might be shallow for this, but I buy books for pretty covers, okay? Sue me. And I'm glad I did, because this book was actually really nice. So this book is about a woman that opens a bookshop, obviously, but it also is about the other people, like the customers that come in and so on. We kind of, through the book, get to know their stories. So for a while in this book, I actually didn't really know where it was gonna go or what the point of it was really, because I was like, okay, what are we building to, in a way, you know? When you read this book, you need to understand there's not gonna be one life-changing event. I feel like for most of the book, it's just life. But I think that is why I love this book, and that's why I read books in general, is to get an insight of other people's lives, to kind of live through the eyes of someone else. This was another 5-star read for me. I'm very easy with giving 5 stars. I should say this. I am a people pleaser. I give 5 stars like all the time on Goodreads, and I don't care. I enjoy a book, I'll give it 5 stars. I'm not that picky. But we actually do have some reads coming up that are not 5 stars, so get ready for that. Anyways, yes, this book was very fun to read. Very slow paced, so it did take me a long while to finish this. But I still really liked it, so. The next book I read is another one that I read because I felt like this is something I should be reading. And it is Anne Frank's diary. I read this in German. I got this gifted by my grandpa. It's a very, very good book. Again, and I feel like this is obvious, it's heartbreaking. It's so sad because most of the book isn't sad. You won't be crying for the entirety of it, which I think is why you cry even more when it ends. And I can recommend you to get this version that I got, which is like with extra stuff at the end where it kind of explains what happens after the book, well, after her diary entry ends, and what happened to her and her family. Yeah, that's the part that really got me, because this book gets you attached to everyone in it, and you know the entire time through that it's real. It's a real story. This happened to real people, and it's so crazy. And I feel like it was a very important read for me, and I feel like it is something that more people should be reading and empathizing with. I don't really have much more to say to this. Sorry, that was a bit of a downer, and I feel bad just moving on to another fantasy book now. But, you know, go read that book. And I finished the Cruel Prince series this year. I read The Queen of Nothing, and I thought it was amazing. Like, if you don't know, The Cruel Prince is an enemies to lovers type of story. It's got 3 books, which I think is very necessary for this type of enemies to lovers. And it is a very slow burn, but it's so worth it. And I loved this book. I love the main character. I think she's so cool. And I think what the author does really well is plot twists. Because I remember there was one part where it leads up with all this tension, and then there's a sudden plot twist, and you're like, whoa. Okay, well that's terrible. And then something else immediately after happens, which like does a full 180, and you're like, ooh, you don't even know what to do. Like, your brain can't even comprehend that fast. It's so fun to read, so I will definitely recommend this. You've got like a strong female character, very strong. She's scary, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very cool. Go read that series if you haven't, and if you like fantasy, kind of like royal settings, because Cruel Prince, you know, and enemies to lovers, which is kind of all my favorite genres, so I guess it makes sense that I love this. Then next we get actually into my summer reads, and this is where I got really back into reading, I feel like, after The Queen of Nothing. So I bought this book, which is called Until Next Summer, because I saw a blog entry saying that this was really fun. This is the first book that I didn't give 4 or 5 stars to, because I actually gave this 3 stars, which I get is not necessarily bad, and it wasn't supposed to be bad, because this is not a bad book, but it didn't really live up to what I hoped it would be. So basically, this book is about two friends that reunite at summer camp and two different love stories. I thought the setting for this was really cool with being at a summer camp, and I liked that it was like dual POV in a way, but I expected this to be like a cutesy summer romance, and it just was more of a spicy romance, which is not what I wanted out of this, I guess. And I think that's the main reason why I was disappointed in it. I also thought the ending, I feel bad saying this, but I cringed a bit at the end. And it just wasn't that much for me. I think if you're younger, maybe, like if you're a teenager, like 15, 14, you might really love this book. I don't know. But the thing is that these are like adult characters, and sometimes it just doesn't feel like they act like adults, if that makes sense, which I thought was a shame. Maybe if I had gone into this with a different expectation of what it was gonna be, I would have enjoyed it more, but I don't know. It didn't get me. Then next, and again, I don't have anything here because I read this as an ebook, was The Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and I liked that book a lot. I feel like it didn't take me that long to finish that one either. It is part 4 of a series. You can read all of those as standalones, but I think it might actually be more fun to start with the first book, which we will get to. But yeah, this book takes place in a small town, and it is about a woman that comes to work as a like live-in nanny for a guy who just found out that he has a child, and he has to take care of it now because I believe the mother passed. I should have reread on this, but I'm sorry. I didn't. I thought the character development of both characters was interesting. There was a part at the end that I didn't love, and this is also a bit spicy, so keep that in mind before you read this. I still really liked it. It's like a very easy romance to read, and I thought the dynamics were very cute. I can recommend that one if you want like a very light, easy read with a bit of spice as well. Then I read Beach Read, which I feel like I've heard of a lot, so I was very excited to read these, and this book didn't disappoint. I believe I gave this 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. It's about 2 authors that both have writer's block and find themselves in neighboring cabins in the same town, and they write completely different genres but make a deal to basically switch genres and try to see who does better. This is also romance, I feel like that's kind of obvious, but I really enjoyed this one. I went through this very quickly as well. I just loved it. It was great. And if you want a nice summer read, I would definitely recommend you this over Until Next Summer. I thought this was very fun. The next 2, again, I don't have here because I actually borrowed them from my friend Self. Shout out to Soph because she actually wanted me to do this video very badly. The first one that I read from her was This Book Kills, which again is like a school setting mystery type thing. And I also really loved this. I feel like I've not been reading mystery enough because I always thought it would be too scary for me. But young adult mystery is not that scary, shockingly. I read that in 2 days, I believe, and I was so hooked. I could not stop. Yeah, it does have a little bit of romance in it too, so if you're interested in that. I personally love that. I love when romance is like a subplot because I love myself some romance, as you might be able to tell. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was very well written. It does kind of lead you in the wrong directions when it needs to, and I like spent the entire time just trying to figure out who it could be. So I will recommend you that book a lot. I actually got not the second part, but another book by the same author for Christmas, and I'm very excited to read that. Read that if you're into mystery, guys. The next book that I also got from Soph is called We Were Liars, and I believe there's a TV show for it. That book also destroyed me, and I will recommend you it so much. That book was really, really great. It's got a super interesting style of writing. It took me a bit to get used to, but I thought it was so fun. Basically, it's about a girl. She's very rich. Her and her family always like spend the summer on an island that her grandpa owns. And then one summer she has an accident, and I think it's like set 2 or 3 years later, and she doesn't remember what happened exactly, and when she comes back to the island, everything's different and she doesn't know why. It's also mystery in a way, but the mystery comes from it having an unreliable narrator, which I thought was so cool. Yeah, I cried so much at the end. It really was incredibly sad, but I thought it was so well done. I think if I could give this more than 5 stars, I would. Right, we only have 2 books left, and we will now get to the book that I hated so much. I made a whole YouTube video about it. I made a whole rant about how much I disliked this book, and I originally gave this 2 stars, and then I reread it for the purpose of making a video, and I reduced my rating to 1 star. This is the only book I've ever rated 1 star, and if you want to know like all about it, go watch that other video. I explained the whole plot and I like dissect everything that I hated about it. I will not recommend you this book. I'm sorry. If you enjoyed it, that's cool with me. I don't care. I just personally had a lot of issues with it and a lot of things that I didn't like. So there's better enemies to lovers, guys. I thought the idea of it was very cool. Business setting, enemies to lovers. It just wasn't it. And I will not spend more time on my channel ranting about this book. This will be left in 2025, alright? Now, finishing off with the first book of the Dream Harbor series, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I also give this 4 stars. It is a cute fall romance book. So if you're looking for something like that, this is it. I thought it got a bit too spice heavy at the end, which was a shame because I did really enjoy this, but I won't like take too much off for it because I thought otherwise this book was very cute and fun to read, and I kind of enjoyed how much of a light read it is. Like, I feel like this is a good thing to have in between of like more plot heavy serious reads, if that makes sense. Yeah, that whole series, I will continue reading it probably in between of other books, and I'm excited for it. Again, I fell for the cute cover like immediately. Like how cute, it even has a little cat, and yes, the cat does appear in the story, guys. It's cute, it's fun. If you want like a very easy romance read, go for one of these books. There's one for like every season at this point, I think. So you'll find a spring read, you'll find a summer read, you'll find a fall read, winter, anything. So yeah, and with that was every book that I read in 2025. I'm interested to see what books I get into next year. If you liked this video and you want me to do this again next year, like let me know in the comments. Also let me know if you have read any of these books and you enjoyed them or hated them. Like, all of your opinions, please drop them below. I'm so intrigued. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up so I also see that you enjoyed it. You can also subscribe to me right here. You can watch another one of my videos right here. And yeah, I will hopefully see you in the next year in another video. Bye bye!